There's definitely something about a beef stew that makes you feel warm and nice inside when you eat it. I guess that's why they call it a comfort food. Come make this with me. After cubing my beef, I take out a large baking dish and I add a cup of flour. And I season the flour with salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and I mix that well. This mixture I'm going to use to coat the beef, and I do that so that I can get a nicer browning effect on the meat. A better flavor, looks nice and crisp and caramelized. So to a pot, yes, I use a pot and not a pan to minimize some of the splashing of the oil. I add some olive oil, and then I add my first batch of meat. Depending on the sizes of your chunks, will depend on how many times you have to do this. I had to do it about 3 times. It's about 3 pounds of meat. And I turn it over every few minutes. I check it, and if it's nice and caramelized on one side, I flip it over, removing each batch and replacing with a new one each time. My final batch, I keep the drippings in there and I add a diced onion. I also add minced garlic, which you can check out a previous video for that cooking hack. And then I let this cook a little bit. I add a half a cup of flour to this, which will serve as my thickening agent later on. After I stir this up a bit, mix it well, I add a half a cup of red wine. Any red wine will do. Stir that up. And here comes the 8 cups of beef broth. Now, other recipes call for less, and that's fine. I, however, put more because I do let this cook for a very long time before all is said and done. So it does thicken up, it does burn off, and I just find that the meat is just really a lot more tender when I don't rush the process. So 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, salt and pepper, a few bay leaves, and then cover and let sit and simmer. I cut up some carrots and celery. I already had used the onion. After about an hour and 15 minutes or so, I add the first batch of vegetables, which is the carrots and the celery. I let that sit and simmer covered for another half hour, and then I add potatoes and cilantro to that pot as well. You see how much it's thickened already? So now this is gonna sit for at least a half hour. Again, I don't rush the process. I serve it over rice, but you can have this in a bowl easily. Enjoy.